If they are panicking in Brussels, well, it would be hard to tell, since during August, much of the EU is en vacances. In fact, they're not really used to anyone turning up at all. Nevertheless, someone was minding the shop today to reassure London that, well, they wouldn't receive an out-of-office auto-reply if they wanted to get in touch.
The Commission does remain available over the coming weeks should the United Kingdom wish to hold talks and clarify its position in more detail, whether by phone or in person.
But behind the scenes, there has been a shift in assumptions in Brussels. What they call a disorderly Brexit is, they think, much more likely.
The EU is finally realizing this, that a lot of people in British politics, including the government, is perhaps not pursuing this, but is willing to consider it if the other side remains inflexible. And of course the real question is, what is Ireland going to do? Nobody really knows, but if you look at it rational again, then Ireland has a great incentive to move.
But other than getting into a bit of a tangle with his jacket, there was not much that could be called a new position from the Irish Prime Minister today. He was on a visit to Northern Ireland and insisted that the backstop, designed to avoid a hard border, couldn't be renegotiated.
Our position is that the withdrawal agreement, including the backstop, is closed. But there is always room for talks and negotiations. For example, we've said that we can certainly make changes to the political declaration, and we've demonstrated before that it's possible to offer clarifications, as we did at the request of Prime Minister May.
But to the UK side, this doesn't constitute real negotiation.
Well, I'm deeply saddened that the EU now seem to be refusing to negotiate with the UK. The Prime Minister's been clear. He wants to negotiate a good deal with the European Union, and he will apply all the energy of the government and ensure that in a spirit of friendliness we can negotiate a new deal.
Boris Johnson has, of course, been to Brussels a few times in his life, most recently as Foreign Secretary. But don't expect another trip in the very near future.
We're not going to expect much over the summer. I think both sides are going to probably be testing options. And what you've got to remember is the EU in particular, they're very skilled negotiators, so they might not want to reveal how far they're willing to go at this stage in the discussions. But of course, it's a risky strategy. The longer we wait, the closer we are to the 31st of October, and the greater the prospects of no deal.
One opportunity for informal talks could come at the G7 summit, taking place in Biarritz, France, later this month. Not only will the leaders of France, Germany and Italy be there, but the EU is also a member. So, might we see what are known as bilaterals in the margins?
At the end of the day, remember in 2010 they agreed a 500 billion bazooka bailout package for the Eurozone, and that was agreed over the weekend. So surely, given how important Brexit is, the UK is equal to the 19 smallest economies of the EU 27. Then rationally you would expect such flexibility to also be shown in case of Brexit.
From the EU's perspective, they will want to make sure that the Irish border, that there's a solution there, but they'll also want to make sure that this is a price worth paying, that actually these negotiations are going to make a difference when that deal returns from Brussels to London, and that it would actually pass in the Parliament.
There was nearly a diplomatic incident in Downing Street today. The Prime Minister and his Estonian counterpart forgot to wave and had to come back out.
Are you planning on going to Brussels to negotiate? Are we heading towards no deal?
As ever with Brexit, there are plenty of questions and few solid answers.